Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a part 6 of Kubernetes crash course for .NET developers. And if you are directly coming to this video, I will highly recommend you to watch previous video first and then you can come to this video so that you can understand the complete flow. Maybe in the description block you can find the playlist where you can see the all 5 videos which I uploaded previously and you can go through that. And in the today's video, first we are going to do a quick recap of the previous video part we already created. We will see that quickly. After that, as this video is especially for volumes in the Kubernetes, and we will see why we need volumes and what problem comes if we don't have the volume. So we will see that, and in the last we will create the volume and then we will attach that volume to our pod. So let's start. And let me show you what we have already created. So if you remember, let me run this kubectl get pods command. So we can see that we have created one deployment and with that with the replica of 3 and we are having this 3 pod and then we are having another pod for our database. And also we created few services. Let me run that also. So this is a one load balancer kind of service to expose our deployment this pod to outside the world. We created as a load balancer, and this service we created to communicate with the database. This deployment is communicating with our database through this ClusterIP services, and also we created ConfigMap. Maybe let me describe this. This is a spello mistake. Let me fix this. So here you can see that in the config map, what we created actually basically we moved our connection string to config map and then we were reading the connection from config instead of hard coding that in our applications. So now as we are having this hello KITS service, right? So let's try to see our application and see how it is working. Now let me, and remember to if we are running with the minikube, we need to tell the minikube like we are having this service and we want to expose this service outside. So we need to tell to minikube like minikube service and then what is our service name? It's hello KITS service. So I can give that service name here and let's hit enter. Then minikube will create one URL for me to access this service outside. So yeah, my minikube has created this URL. So let me try to access this and let's add swagger slash index.html. And here let's try to add some data. So I came to this post method here, try it out. Let me remove this ID here and let's say test 01 last 01 and execute this. Now let's change this to 02 and 03 as well. So we are basically adding a 3 record. Okay, so we received 200 and now let's try to run this get endpoint and we can see that whatever we have added, we can see that record as well. So if you remember our previous videos, so one problem which we faced when we were having a database and pod in the database and our application in the same pod, we were seeing some data inconsistency and even the data loss is also there. Then, we separated out our database to the different pod, and then we were able to resolve that data inconsistency issues. But still we are having one problem, right? Because now if you will see, this is a three record I added, and by any reason if my database pod is getting down or it's failing, then what happens? Maybe let me show you. I will do this. I will delete this pod, and as we know in the Kubernetes we have self-healing process, so it will automatically create a new pod, right? So let's try to do that and see what problem happens when our database pod is getting down. So let me try to run command kubectl delete pod, and I am giving pod name, and let's hit enter. Now let's run kubectl get pods command again. So we can see that it created, because we are having a self-healing process in Kubernetes. So it created 12 seconds before it created a new pod for our database. And now let's go back to our application. And if I will try to execute this get employee again, so then see what happens. I am getting this internal server error saying that employee does not exist, because that migration we executed when we created this uh, deployment for our applications. That time migration was also executed. So for this new database, we don't have this employee table, right? Because we lost everything when we deleted it. Maybe let me try to even delete one of the pod as well. So I will say kubectl delete pod, and I'm deleting one of the our application pod. So let me try to edit here and hit enter. So again, Kubernetes will heal this, and it will, because we have set the replica count to 3, and when it will see that replica's count is below the desired count, it will automatically create a new pod for me. And when it will create a pod, that time for this database, migration will also execute. So what error we are seeing here, employee does not exist, this error will not come. So let me try to run kubectl get pods command again, and we can see that this new pod is created with 35 seconds before. And now let's go back and run this execute command again. So this time we are seeing that we did not receive error, but there is a problem. We added 3 records previously, but we lost that data. So this is a problem, and to resolve this problem, we can use volume. So before we start the actual example, let's think about our first video where we discuss about the Kubernetes architecture. So like this is our cluster, this is our Kubernetes cluster. If you remember, in that video also we discussed same. And under the cluster we have one master node and a worker node. And under the worker node we have pods. So this is our pod where our application is running, right? Under the pod we have container, and in that our application is running. So where should I create a volume? This is very important question, right? When I have this database. So for this database, where should I create a volume? For example, if I will create a volume under this pod, then I will get the same issue what we faced earlier when we created when we run the two container. One is for database, and another is for our application in the one pod, and then we were observing the data inconsistency and data loss issue. So if we will have volume under the pod, then we will have the same issue, right? So this is not right solution. Then what should be a correct solution, and where should we create a pod? Sorry, where should we create a volume? So can we create a volume under the worker node? Yeah, here. So I see one more issue if we are creating a volume under the worker node. So suppose we can have n number of worker nodes, right? Then we will have multiple volume as well. And in that case, suppose our application is running in worker node A and worker node B, then we will have data inconsistency when we are having a volume under the worker node also. So this is also not a good solution. Then where should I create a volume? Yes, correct. So if I will have volume outside of my, worker node and master node, then I can have data consistency across the worker node, across the pod, right? So we can have our volume outside, and it can be even attached with the other cloud provider, maybe Azure or AWS, where you can attach your volume. And now another question comes is like how my pod will communicate with this volume. So there is another concept we have in the Kubernetes that is called PVC, persistent volume claim. So our pod will have one PVC, and then this PVC will say to volume like, hey, volume, this is my claim and I want to mount this volume through this storage class. So suppose I have this 10 GB of volume, and suppose my storage class is manual. So I will have this claim in my pod, and when I will send this claim to the volume, and whenever the claim is matching with the volume, that volume will be mounted, and then I can use that volume. So let's see all this in action and let's start. So here I'm searching for Kubernetes documentations for volume, not diagram, it should be volume. So we can see this volumes here. And if you want to go more details, definitely you can go through this document. It will have all the options like what type of volumes, like this is a volume. When we have volumes attached under the pod, then this is a type of the volume. And when we are having a volume outside, you can see that like beyond the lifetime of the pod, then we call it as a persistent volume. So we are going to create that persistent volume, and all the different types of, like if you want to, like this one is removed, but all the options you can find here if you want to use any cloud providers and different uh, systems as well. So here if you came to this volumes page after searching on Google, then just move to this persistent volume. This is what we are going to create, so let's move it here. And if you will scroll down, here you can see that detailed walkthrough with working examples. So we are going to refer this example to create our PV, that's persistent volume, and PVC, that's persistent volume claim. So let me try to open this in the different tab, and here you can see that, let's scroll down. So here this is a YAML which we are going to refer for our application. So here what we are going to do is we are just creating one persistent volume, right? So let's go to our terminal and see if we are having an existing persistent volume or not. So let me clear this everything, and kubectl get pv command I am going to run. That key pv command will list all the persistent value. So we can see that we don't have any persistent volume in my namespace. Now let's run pvc, and we can see that we don't have any persistent volume claim also in my namespace. And sorry, this is I told in my namespace, but this does not belongs to any namespace. It is available across the namespace. So we can see even the message difference also, like no resource found and no resource found in default namespace, because I am running in the default namespace. So now let's create our volume. So what I can do that, let's go back here and I will copy this and I will give same name pv-volume.yml file. So this is the root of KTest folder what we created in our previous video. So let's move to same location and you can open any editor. I am going through in the Visual Code and here I am going to create this new YAML file. We can use that same file, but for better visibility now let's create a new file. So maybe hello pv.yaml and let's copy. Let's save this and now let's move to our terminal. Let me clear this out. Let's run ls command to see. So we can see that now this is new file also we are having and I am at the root location. Now I will run same command kubectl apply then f and then I will give this file name. So we can see that our persistent volume is created. Now let's run kubectl get pv command. So we can see that now our volume is also available and status this time, if you will observe, it is showing available. So once we will create our claim and then both the things will match, then you will see status as a mountain. But now like we don't have any claim, so because of that it is showing as a available. Now let's move to documentation. So we have created this volume. Now what we are going to create is that's correct. Now we are going to create our claim. So for claim, let's copy this and let's move to our folder structure, and here I will say maybe as I give name hello pv.yml, so I will say hello pvc.yml. Hello pvc.yml. And let's paste it here, and this time I will say only, or maybe I will say 112 megabytes only. So how much, like this is my complete claim, but how much I needed, and read write once, these are the different modes we are having, right? Because suppose if you are saying like read write once, so only one node can be able to read and write, and there are other options like read write many, like multiple nodes can also read and write on that, and few other options also there that you can go through with the documentations. It should be pretty same. So now let's move to our terminal and let's list out the new files, and we can see this hello pvc.yml file as well. So let's run kubectl apply for this new file, and we can see that our PVC is also created. So now let's run kubectl get PVC. So we can see that this PVC is created. Storage class is a manual. And now let's run for PV command again, because remember I told about the status, that time it was showing available here, right? Now let's see what status it is showing. So this time, if you will observe, this time it is available. When we created a claim, then it is showing as a bound. So this is also done now. We have created a persistent volume, then we created persistent volume claim. Now what next? We need to update our deployment to use this claim and volume, right? So let's go back to documentation, and if you will scroll down here, we are creating a uh, volumes, and we are assigning that mounts path as well. So I can refer this. Now let me copy this, and where should I edit this? Yes, in our deployment, and in the deployment also I should add this in our Postgres deployment, right? So this is our service, this is our Postgres deployment. So here we can see that this is spec tag, and under this I will say add this. Now let's move it little bit. Okay. So this is the name. What is the name? Sorry, this is the name. What is the name we are having for our PVC? So if maybe you can see it here, like this is our PVC name. So same name we are going to assign it here, and we need to mount the container as well, right? So maybe I will copy this, and in the container, maybe here I will say volume mounts, and here I can give any path, but it should not be index.html, so I will say like data here, and this is the name should match with the name what we have defined here, right? So this two is matching. And one last thing, right? Because in the Postgres we have one environment variable to say like where should our data should be there. So we can like we are saying like it should mount under this path, right? So this path also I need to add that in our environment variable. So I will say here like name, and it will be pg data, and then value, it should be same value, like, so let me copy this and paste it here. Yeah, that's all. So now let's move to our terminal. Let me clear this for better visibility. Let's clear this, and let's list the content of K8s folder. So here we are having our deployment for our Postgres, right? Where we define the volumes and volume mounts, etc. Right? So I need to run again same command kubectl apply, and here I should give this deployment file name, and let's hit enter. So we can see that only like this is unchanged, these three are unchanged because we did not make any changes on this, and our Postgres is configured. And if I will run kubectl get bots command again, so we can see that our one pod is in the terminating status of 73 minutes before, and new pod is created 16 seconds before. If I will run again kubectl get pod, so we can see that our new Postgres pod with volume is up and running. So now let me go back to our browser window, and let's move to our Swagger. And here if I will try to execute now, so I can see that I'm getting empty response because we lost previous data. But this time let's add few records again. I will say 1 1 1, then 2 2 2, and 3 3. So basically I added three more records when we received 200. And if I will run execute, so I can see that uh, three record is coming. Now let's test like the problem we faced when we deleted like our database pod was down, and when new pod was created we lost the data. So now let's try to delete this our database pod. Maybe let's clear this and let's run kubectl get pods again, and this is our postgres pod. And what I'm going to do is I will delete that pod and see when the new pod is getting created with Kubernetes automatically due to auto healing. Then with that pod, my application is still working and my data is still there or not. So let me try to delete this Postgres pod, kubectl delete pod, and hit enter. So it is deleting my Postgres pod. Let's wait for it to complete, and now let's run kubectl get pods command again. So it is creating a new, old one is deleted, and for new one it is in the container creating status. It will take few seconds, so let's wait, and after a few seconds maybe we can run kubectl get pods command again. So this time we can see that our pod is up and running, and this is a new pod which we created 30 seconds before. And now let's run, we can see this three record, right? And now let's run execute again and see if still we have that data or not, because we are having this time new database pod. So let me click execute. So we are getting some error, maybe still that pod is not up. So let's wait for it, and maybe let's try to hit enter again. So this time, yeah, this time we received a response and we can see that our data is still there. Let me try hit again. So even we can see that data. Let's hit again. Yeah, still data is there. Now even let's try to delete this pod again. Maybe get pods. This is 91 second ago created database pod. Let me try to delete it one more time. kubectl delete pod and the pod name and hit enter. So this will again delete the pod, and second time we are verifying like still data there or not. So our pod is deleted. Let's run kubectl get pods. So our new pod is still up just 15 seconds before. So we may get error for the first time, and let's wait and then click again execute, so we can see that still data is coming and we are having the data. So even our pod is down, and we are having a new pod for our database. With the help of volume we are able to persist, we are able to retain our data. So that's all for this video. See you in the next video, and if you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe, and please share with your friends. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.